Hi guys, so this is going to be a remake of the video about what they're thinking about when you're affirming or when you're visualizing them. It's actually not a remake, I'm just adding more information to just give some more examples or just to explain it further. And I might even make another video because this is just going to talk about some things that I had questions about or people were asking me in the comment section, and then also I had some emails about this too. So anyway, okay, and that video that I'm referencing was about from like a year and a half ago when I first started my channel, maybe like a month in or something. So, but one of the questions I got was, how do I know when they're starting to feel more, or when will they start really changing and me noticing it, and I want to say a couple things to this because this can be illusory for some people in this community or for a lot of people, and there's not a lot of information that's correct about this out there, I think. So basically if you're not seeing movement, or if you're stuck, you have to realize that they are not just picking up on your affirmations, the things that you're deliberately saying, right? Or even your deliberate visuals, right? They're also picking up on everything that's going on, right? Energetically, you're like a ball of energy, or you're a ball of beliefs, and you're a ball of feelings, right? You have a lot of stuff going on at any given moment. So a lot of you guys might not like this answer, but this is the truth, okay? So they're not only picking up on those things, they're picking up on your beliefs, negative beliefs that you have about relationships. They're picking up on your, negative biases about certain things, maybe about men in general or women in general. They're picking up on, fears or things that are subconscious that you're not addressing, that might be blocking you or hindering you or making you feel a certain way, or not, just not in alignment with your actual affirmations or with the visuals that you are doing some of the time, right? You got to realize you're not doing this stuff all the time, unless you're locking yourself in your room and you're just sitting there and just that's all you're doing, right? Which I think is a complete waste of time anyway, because after you're done doing that, your other beliefs are going to be there no matter what. The stuff that you're scared of, the stuff that you never resolved, the things that you feel bad about, right? These things that are subconscious and they're just programming with some of it, right? And, so you have to realize that that's sometimes what's going on, and they're reading, nothing is private, right? They're reading everything about you, right? They're reading your thoughts and feelings about them. They're reading your ideas about the world, right? Even all of that plays into this, right? It's not just this 10-minute block of what you're sending them. That's not that's not the truth, right? That's not the truth. They are picking up on everything, and whether it's like a little feeling or it's an actual thought that they're having, it can come in various ways. But a lot of times, this is another point that I wanted to make. A lot of times it's not like you love me, it's not like when you say, oh, he loves me and he always calls me. They're not like ... I love her, I always call her, I'm calling her right now, right? It's not like a robot, like it's not like that immediate. Sometimes and a lot of times it comes as a feeling, right? Just like for us, when we have a thought, we have a feeling, right? So it's very similar to the way we transfer thoughts, right? Or we transfer feelings, basically, because thoughts always come with feelings. They're like always joined together, right? So when you are, sending someone a deliberate message, they can get little bits and pieces of that, right, as feelings, or sometimes maybe it comes as a thought, right? It's varied depending on, if they're, it just depends on how they're receiving it, right? And a lot of times, another thing I wanted to say too is, a lot of times we don't know what we're feeling, right? Like, let's say they start thinking and feeling some sort of way, right? And I know I'm a very aware, I don't want to say the most, but I'm a really aware person. Like, I know when I'm feeling not, I just pay attention to myself. But a lot of people aren't like that. It takes a while for them to start thinking about what they're feeling, right? So sometimes that's why it can take a little while, because I had someone ask me, why is it taking so long, or how long does this actually take, or when do they start, their feelings start changing. And it's honestly, it varies, right, depending on a lot of factors. And the biggest factor is that you are sending them a ball of things. It's not just this little affirmation you're saying over and over again, or this visual that you're doing. You're also sending them the rest of your energy, right? And so it's a good idea to look at that stuff, these just overall general beliefs about what you feel about that, about relationships in general, because we do have early programming. I've said this in videos from 0 to 7, we have a programming, our brain is in a very receptive state. So we have a lot of programs from that time period. And I know even for myself, I had to really look at what's really in there. It's not just he loves me, he thinks I'm amazing, right? That's not the only thing that I'm energetically made up of, right? There's a lot of stuff, and I'm just using an SP example, but it could be just, the only thing that the job, the people that are offering you a job, that the thing they're not only getting, she's the best candidate, let's hire her, right? I'm the best candidate, they hired me. I'm the best candidate, they hired me, right? They're also getting your fears about not being good enough. They're getting your story about failing, about, story a few years ago about how you failed at something. They're getting your energetic belief that maybe you didn't wear the right stuff, and I was, maybe you're uncomfortable in, I'm not a good interviewer, or, these thoughts that can be in your head that are beliefs that are, really, really strong tracks that are just playing out in your life, right? And people pick up on all of this stuff. It's all part of your energy. So, as I was saying, when you're, young, you have a very receptive mind. So these things are basically just formed tracks, very, very formed, well traveled tracks that your mind is, doing, has these neural connections that are just really well paved, right? Since you kind of get out of the theta brainwave when you're, about 7 or 8, so you stop sort of forming these very dense neuronal pathways, right? But it's really good to look at what you were surrounded with, and like I said, I was, I had beliefs about, marriage being a bad thing. It's just because my parents were fighting, right? And that's just that was ingrained in me until I looked at it and I rewrote that belief, right? So there could be a lot of things that people are picking up on. It's not just that simple visual or that simple affirmations you're doing for those 10 or 20 minutes a day or whatever your routine is. And, lately I've been talking about just getting into a state of knowing. So, there's that too. The beliefs can still be playing out even if you're in a state of knowing, right? It's just good to be aware of these things and address them when they come up, so yeah, I would say the other part that I was going to go into was when you are saying these things, I've seen it take, so when you're saying things or you're, visualizing things, I've seen it take 2 weeks for someone to feel something, right? And they might feel something and they feel all the other things that are sort of in your mind about the situation, right? Maybe like, oh, but he said he wasn't ready last time, or, oh, marriage is really hard, relationships are really hard, or, it never ends good, or it's always a struggle, or it's painful. And, we have I'm sorry I'm using so many negative examples, but this can be the stuff that's in your mind. And the reason why we have such a negative bias and we're sort of more conscious or paying more attention to these stories that are negative, or we're latching on to negative stuff from when we were a kid or whatever, is because we're trying to keep ourselves safe. And this goes back, way back when we were in the cave time and we had to be aware of the dangers of, whatever, lions or bears or tigers, right? Just the idea that we had to keep ourselves alive, right? And so that can be even more pronounced if we grew up in an environment where we were also stressed, or there wasn't, we were being hurt in some way. Maybe we have, some sort of abuse, maybe physical, or just not getting our needs met, because a lot of us didn't get our needs. I mean, I think pretty much everybody didn't get some need met, right? Because our parents cannot do all of that, right? They're trying to work, they're trying to do all this stuff. And so especially if you grew up in an environment where your needs weren't met, or you're being hurt in some way, then you even have a dug out, negative bias in your brain so that you stay alive, right? So you're hyper aware and fixated and latching on to these negative things. It's really good to explore what that is for you in regards to these different areas you are, you're trying to improve in your life, right? So anyway, those were my additions I wanted to add. If you guys have any more questions, I just wanted to add that in. I think I might even make another video, because I just keep thinking of more stuff to say about this topic, but it's just a really interesting topic, right? And anyway, if you guys have any questions, let me know. If you love transformation and my unique perspective, stick around. I'd love to have you. See you next time. I love you guys. Bye guys.